Thank you for joining this afternoon on a Sunday. My name is Alex Malapane, and I will be driving some conversation with you, more especially to encourage you on how to prepare for your upcoming interview, a job interview, from preparation, from application until you are placed or you have got that job. So I just want to share some few ideas with you, and I believe that these ideas will really be very useful for you, and they will definitely, become useful for your next interview that you will be getting. And I believe we are all looking for more opportunities, or we want promotions, or we want to move from one level of career to another. And I believe this session should be able to really assist you in preparing for such, because career, when you look at careers are very diverse, and it's really up to you, to step up, because the competition is very tight out there, and you will definitely need to upgrade, or to look at ways and things that can assist you to be able to get that job that you're looking for. So, without wasting much time, I just want to also look at, I just want to also explain, the rationale. Why am I doing this, and why do I think it's very important? We live in at times where, we don't have really much jobs in South Africa, and jobs are awarded based on competition, or they are very competitive. And people need to begin to learn new ways and new strategies, so that they can begin to, they can ace that next interview and get that job. So I'm not really an expert, but I can assist there and there in order to, bring perspective and what need to really be done during and while we are preparing for that kind of interview. So, like I said, my name is Alex. You can catch this also on YouTube. If you go to my my Twitter timeline, you get a link for YouTube where you can, watch this on YouTube live. We are live on YouTube, and you can also use this timeline also to check or to view from it. So you can ask me question either by going to the chat and type your question there on the chat, or you can actually do what we call a live. You can add me on. You can add a hashtag Alex Malapane or hashtag Trends Africa, so I can get your questions and respond it live. Without further ado, I want us to go straight, to the crux of the matter. And we are at the time where, like I said, jobs are very scarce, and the economic climate is not really responding to what we want. So as you prepare for your job interview, it's very important for you to prepare properly, so that you ace that next interview that you want. And I want to also encourage you that from today, start, creating those applications, packaging them very well, preparing your CV in a very professional manner, because the environment and what we're looking for actually out there is very tight. So you need to be very professional. Your CV need to be very professional, so that it can speak for you on your behalf. The last thing you want is for your CV to not put that information that is required, and you fail to get that job, or you fail to be, either what we call it, to be shortlisted. So your CV speaks for you before an interview. So it's very important to put a proper CV that is comprehensive enough, that tells who Alex is, for example, that details who Alex is, and everyone who touched that particular, CV should be able to know who Alex is before they meet Alex. So to call you or to shortlist you is to now test you if you are ready for that role, or if you can actually get that particular role. So we need to be very, very, very careful when we, especially when we are applying for a job, because if they're looking for an office administrator, or they're looking for a project administrator, or they're looking for a project manager, or they're looking for a chief operating officer, there are so many people who will be responding to those applications. There are so many people who will be applying. So you need to get your A game so that you at least get shortlisted. And when you get shortlisted, that's when now you need to begin to see how are you going to ace that particular interview. So, like I'm saying right now, and like I'm actually advising you, is that the first thing that you need to do, the first thing that you must come to your mind is, how do I get shortlisted? How do I get shortlisted? Because before anything can happen, you need to be shortlisted. So prepare your CV in a proper way. Make sure it doesn't have obvious typos. The grammatical discordance has been taken care of. It's presentable. Maybe if you can, it has even your picture. Why? Because if you do those things, the person who's going to review your CV, or people that are going to review your CV while they're doing the shortlist, they will see how serious you are. They will see how relevant your CV is, and they can even be able to, do some kind of shortlisting, and they can even recommend you for the next phase. So it's very important for you to prepare yourself, and it's very important for you to actually look forward to this kind of things. And you need to engage yourself. You need to have that kind of professionalism in building your CV. In job interviews that I've said in my life or in my history, I've seen a number of CVs that you can tell that this person is not serious. They have misspelled their own names. They have misspelled their own ID numbers. They have misspelled even their surnames or their date of birth. It's a shady work. So you will not get, an interview for that. So you need to make sure that your CV is okay. All right. And in making sure that your CV is okay, you must also learn to use the correct application process. They will tell you, we need we need application by CV, or we need them by post, or you need to go and apply it online on their website. You need to understand, if they say it's an online, go and click and go to their online portal and make sure that you are able to process your CV from there. Okay. So the next level of working on your CV is to make sure that your CV is properly inserted, is properly properly done. Because one thing that you don't want is to have your CV sent while it's not ready. You find that it has columns that are empty, or columns that are not responsive, or there are so many things that could actually go wrong as you are preparing for your CV. So it's very much important to read-proof your own CV, and ensure that it's in a proper manner and it's in the format that is readable. Okay. So it's very much important also to look at your language, the language that you are using, because many a times, our language in the CV, it's not really aligned to what we're doing or the position that we are applying for. And it becomes very difficult for you to actually ace that particular job or ace that particular interview. So you need to make sure that your CV is in a correct in a correct template, and it's readable, it's professional enough, and you are able to send it out to the potential employer for them to review and shortlist you to come for the interview. So what are the steps that one need to make, or one need to go through, especially when they want to ace an interview? This is a very important one, because ordinarily, so many people can get shortlisted, but they cannot get that job. Why? Because either they are not well prepared, or they are not, they were not, or they were intimidated during the interview, or they were somehow, not ready during the interview. So it's very, very, very important for you to learn, to see how, to learn how to structure your how to present during an interview so that you are able to be shortlisted, you are able to, gain that kind of acceptance, and you get that placement, or you get offered that particular position. So I'm going to dive in right now in 20 minutes, teach you how the strategies of how to ace an interview, how to stand up as a good candidate who can get that particular job. Like I told you in the beginning that there are so many people who are looking to get that particular post. So when you display, or when you begin to say something, or when you begin to articulate yourself, you need to understand that you are against other candidates. So you must come out as the best candidate. Number one, when you are preparing for an interview, you need to research about the company that you're going to. Know about what is the nature of business that they are up to, what are the kind of flagship programs or project that they are up to, who are their clients, if you can have that information on their website, where are they located, who is the CEO, who is the current management, or whatever you can gather on the website. Gather as much information as possible. Spend time reading about the company. Know their vision, know their mission, know what they are all about. Know exactly the line of business and the kind of services they provide, because it's very important for you to answer your question in the context of what the company is offering. So you cannot go there and start giving examples that are irrelevant to the nature of the business that they are actually giving you this kind of a job for, or you can't even articulate, or tell what kind of business they are in. So you need to be very, very, very prepared and know at least almost everything about the nature of the business that the company is working on. Do your research. Make sure that you spend time doing your research. Don't take it for granted. Research is very, 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 very important. Number two, you must look presentable. When you go to an interview, you must look presentable. You must look, professional and presentable. If you are a gentleman, put on a tie. If you don't have it, just make sure that you take in your shirts. Everything looks good on you, and you go there and be proud of yourself. Own up the space. When they look at you, they must see a candidate, a future leader, a candidate that can do the job. So if it's a sporting company, wear in that format, or wear towards being sporty, maybe be casual a little bit. If they're a professional organization, see about their culture, learn about what they do from their website or from online information, and get to dress the part. Dress smart, dress nicely, comb your hair if you can, make sure that everything is fine. And when you go there, be very, very, very presentable, because the impression, the first impression matters, more especially when you're going for an interview, because when they look at you, they must feel, that aura. They must feel that this is the guy that we're looking for. This is the person we want. This is the person that we have to employ for this particular post. So you are dealing with a number of people. You are dealing with a lot of competition out there. So you need to look the part, and you need to make sure that you are able to respond to anything that that can give you points. All right. Number three, when you go to an interview, sometimes just carry a notepad and a pen. Don't go there empty-handed. Just rock up and sit down and keep quiet. It's allowed sometimes to do some little bit of notes, especially when they're asking you tough questions, or you want to refer something. It's allowed to even, do some of the questions, because some of the questions can be too long that you may even forget what they were all about, because you are very, very stressed. It's not comfortable in the room and all that. So you need to be in the space where you are able to write some of these things down. Excuse me. Excuse me. So when you enter there with a pen and a notepad. You flip it on a new page, you put your pen or pencil there, and then you greet the panel. So they must see a person who is ready, to take over, the person who's ready to answer all the questions that they are required. Number three, make sure that you also have, at least a copy of your CV, latest payslip if you have one, or latest payslip of a job that you had previously, but have something that you can present to them. All right. Number 4, arrive very early. Don't be late. There are many people, you know, they underestimate, especially in Joburg or Cape Town or Durban. You underestimate, oh no, the interview is at 2 o'clock, so I will leave at 12 o'clock. You don't know if there's going to be an accident or something will happen or whatever. Make sure you arrive on time. Even if you arrive 2 hours late, early, it's okay. As long as you are there on time and you're not going to be called, I'm sorry, excuse me, to be saying, no, I'm driving, I'm running late or whatsoever. You must always be on time. Make sure that you are on time, you are presentable, you arrive, sit there, you rather start doing your notes and everything or recapping while you are there. Be on time. Don't allow, time to be an issue, because it can act against you. When they look at you, they might see somebody who's not a responsible somebody. So they can give that job to somebody on the basis that you were very late. And sometimes, it's a back-to-back meeting, interviews. So by the time you are late, somebody else take your space and you end up not getting that particular job. So be on time and don't be late all the time. Make sure that you are on time and you are able, to arrive early. Be enthusiastic and show some patience when you are there. Employers are looking for patient-driven candidates. You need to be very, very, you need to have enthusiasm. You need to be very, very confident, and you must be patient-driven in that particular day. So when they ask you questions, even if you don't know anything, say something. Or you can ask them to even repeat the question. Don't just say, no, I don't know, and keep quiet. Try to reason, try to say something, because it might count against you. And if you don't understand, ask them to simplify or ask them to repeat the question while you think of what you can say or what you can respond. Sometimes interviews are job related. Interview questions are job related. So if you are going for a project manager post or position, you must make sure that you have read or you have covered at least the grounds about project management. Because when you arrive in the interview room, when they begin to ask you questions, they want you to answer questions based on what you have read, based on what what the position is all about. So you cannot go to a project management or a project manager position and you haven't read or you haven't prepared anything to do with project management. Make sure that you read it. Make sure that you understand at least the background of what the position is all about. Make sure that you have read the job description that they've posted online, the ad, the job ad, what you're expected to do, what you're expected to deliver. And when they ask you a question, give examples that are related to what the job description is all about. All right. So this gives you a competitive edge because you are able to respond to the needs. You are able to respond to what actually is required during an interview. All right. Number 4, learn to listen very, very carefully in an interview. So many people don't want to listen in an interview. They just arrive and they're so outside-minded or absent-minded while they're in an interview. They're thinking about, maybe they're thinking about their challenges and problems or whatever. But learn to be to listen attentively. Details, paying attention to details is very important in an interview. And when you're asked to give an example, give a practical example and make sure that your example and what you're saying links to what the question was all about, links to what the job is all about, links to what the job description is all about. So give examples that are live, examples that are practicals, examples that are related to the position that you are applying for. So it's very much important for you to learn these things ahead of time. Know very well that this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to say, and make sure that you get that particular job. It's not easy to get a job. Trust me, it's not easy. It is not easy to get a job. You need to be very competitive. You need to show that you know your game, you know your story, you know yourself, you're passionate about what you want to do or what the company is looking for. You are able to bring that, a link to the gap that exists in the form of that job in that company. And by doing so, people or the panel will begin to have buy-in in what you're saying, and they can actually hire you for that particular position. All right. The next step of what you need to do is to make sure that, more especially if a job is administrative base. You need to make sure that you understand the little, the little information about the role that you want or the role that you're applying for. And how do you do this? You look at, online, there's so much information that you can do during your preparation. You can just do a Google search, roles of an administrator or roles of an office administrator, roles of an operations manager, roles of a HR officer. Why? Because you need to align yourself to that thinking, to that understanding, so that you are able to give questions. You are able to give answers that are related to what you do. What the position does and what you will be doing in the position is very, very, very much important. Okay, listen attentively and pay attention to details. Give specific examples that are related to what you are asked. If you are asked about how do you manage a day-to-day, maybe you are there for a PA position and they say, how do you manage the chief executive officer or director or whoever you will be a PA to? So you need to begin to explain how do you do that. So you can talk about diary management, checking with him if there's any meeting or anything that is lagging behind, making sure that records are in order, making sure that you supply, minutes of previous meetings on time, making sure that you record everything during the meetings, you send out invites on time, you are able to do cancellations when the CEO is not available or your manager is not available or whoever you will be a personal assistant to. You need to know how to give specific examples. How do you manage workload? You need to give practical example. Learn about that role. Learn about, Google from the internet. Search about it. Get to know, what is this thing all about? What needs to be done here? What can I learn about this thing? And immediately when you begin to learn those things, trust me, you will be in a better position to respond, and you will be able to get the kind of response that you're looking for, of course, which will be to get that particular job. But you need to do your part. Do your part. Do your part. Very, very much important, right? So the other time you may be asked questions like, for example, tell us about you. That's a lot to. If a person asks you to tell them about you, you make sure that you tell them the crux of who you are. You tell them exactly who you are, what you're capable of. What you must leave a statement that when you leave that room, they must shake their heads and say, we cannot lose this candidate. So if they ask, if it's for example, it's an office administration office. If they say, who is this person or who are you? Or they ask you, tell us about you. So you align your about you to the position that you have been shortlisted for. Number one, you can tell them, oh, I'm a process-driven, smart, strong administration. I'm able to multitask. I can work under pressure. I can work for multiple, for multiple hours. I can work under very limited supervision. I'm a go-getter. All those things. You need to link your capabilities and those things to the post that you have applied for. You can't be talking about, no, I can drive, I've got a driver's license, I have 14 years experience in driving, but you are in an operations role. You need to be telling us, how do you manage operations? How do you order, stationery in the office? How do you make sure that the inventory, if it's a company that sells or whatever, it's in order? How do you make sure that the office equipment and everything in the office is taken care of maintenance-wise? How do you take care of the facility itself and all that? Why? Because those are the things that are related to operations roles, right? So everything you do, everything you say must be aligned to that position. And if you leave a good statement, you should be able to get that job, right? And ask question at the end of an interview. Most of the time they'll ask you, okay, do you have any question to the panel? And many people will say, no, we don't. This is the time for you to engage, more especially if you have prepared stuff that they did not ask you for. That's a tip, by the way. So you can begin to tell them, all right, ask them questions such as, okay, what kind of person are you looking for in this role? When are you expecting the person to start? If you are available immediately, tell them I'm available immediately. Tell them about your accomplishment, the stuff that you have done. the work that you have done or the degree that you have done that is related to your post, things that they did not ask you in the interview. Make sure before you leave, if you feel like this is important, make sure that they understand those things. And when they ask you about salary, if it is your first job, just say it's negotiable. It's negotiable, even if it's not your first job, because most of the time you will say something that will look like you're just looking for money, and they might not give you that job because they don't feel you are a better candidate or you are suitable enough to have that particular role. So be careful of who and how you negotiate for your salary. If you have over maybe 5 years experience or whatsoever, then you can start demanding, not necessarily demand, but negotiating a good salary that you want. So be sure, do a market benchmark, know how much project managers in the same scale are earning in other companies or in other like-minded companies, and go there with a figure. So if a project manager earns 50,000, you can negotiate from maybe 46,000 and just say you like something like 47,000 or 46,000 per month, total cost to company. Let them begin to negotiate with you. Once they negotiate with you, you know where they stand. Or they can just write it down and say, okay, we'll get back to you. Or you can even say it's 47,000, but it's negotiable based on the company's affordability. You are giving them a room to actually maneuver and a room for them to come back for more. They can call you and say, okay, we're offering you 50 or we're offering 45. Do you take it or reject? Then you up your game and begin to negotiate. Don't negotiate salaries looking like you are desperate. No. Know your story. Be very convincing that you understand the role. Be convincing that you understand you have quantified the amount of energy and time and the requirements that are required by this role. So when you do that, you stand a chance, to get considered, because people will always consider based on what you have said or what you have done. Right? It's very, very much important for you to negotiate your salary. Negotiate and make sure that you are able to bring a stamp that you are worth that kind of money that you're negotiating for. So don't negotiate something that your content and your interview were not really in sync, or you felt or it was not really convincing. So if it's a manager post, make sure that you have you can articulate your managerial patterns, your style of management, and how you're going to deliver, how you're going to manage people, how you're going to manage your subordinates, how are you going to improve performance of the company or the department that you'll be in, and how are they going to reporting lines, what kind of systems you're going to implement, what kinds of tools they're going to use to manage people so that they can be efficient and they can add value to your company, to the company that wants to hire you. And on a very high note, if the interview was not okay, make sure that you leave the room with good stuff. Tell them what you do, who you are, the kind of person, the qualities that you have as an individual, because it's very much important for them to know the kind of person that they might lose if they don't hire you. So speak understanding that this is a competition. You must leave them on a very high note and leave them with something that they can think about. They must understand Alex was here, we need to hire Alex. And by doing so, you will nail that interview. Ace the follow-ups, making sure that, when a follow-up is asked, that's an opportunity for you to stress your point that you've made. And make your point very quick, very clearly, and shorten it. Don't speak the whole day. You will even contradict yourself. Speak. They ask a question, you answer it appropriately, short and precise, and keep quiet and say thank you. Then they can ask the next question. If they make a follow-up, make sure that now they want you. If they make a follow-up, it means they want you to reiterate what you're saying. All right. And again, when you are in an interview, make sure that you read the mood in the room. Don't just get in an interview, look all serious and all that. Relax, be truly relaxed. Don't think about stuff that scare. Will make you to be upside-minded in an interview room. Make sure that you respect the panel. Address them as either with their first names or depending on the nature of that particular job. If it's in a university, you might want to address people as prof, address people as doctors and their titles. But if it's in a corporate world, you can address people with their first name or sir or whatever, or madam. But make sure that you understand and you can respond exactly. You can even ask them, how can I refer you, when they're introducing themselves, before you can start talking. And when they ask you who you are or whatever, you can even start by that question to say, okay, thank you. Listen attentively their surnames and names so that you can respond them and respond with the correct way or the correct address that is required. If it's a construction, nothing is really too deep there. You can address them with their first names and make sure that whatever you do or whatever you say to them, it's not disrespectful. Read the culture of the organization, understand what they're all about, understand what they promote, understand what the company is driving, their mandate, their vision, their mission, what they stand for, their clients, the kinds of clients that they have. This will help you to ace your next interview. I hope you have enjoyed and you have learned a little bit about this. I'm going to stop here today. And I'm just checking if I have some questions online that I need to respond to, but I don't see any questions so far. And I'm thankful for you to tune in to listen to this intense or this short, brief interview tips. And maybe before I go, let me just also acknowledge all my viewers on YouTube and also here on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be coming back again with more. Make sure that your CV is in the right place. I'll be sharing with you tips on my timeline. Follow me at Alex Malapane, or hashtag me, hashtag Alex Malapane, or hashtag Trends Africa, so that I can get your messages. Or you can even DM me. But for you to DM me, you need to follow me first so that the DM can open, and then I will be able to respond to your question. Thank you so much, and I wish you success in your next interview. Go there, take over the space, take over that particular interview, and nail that job. You can do it. You have the capacity. You have the right skills. You have the right, you have the right tools that you can use to do that. Use them. If it's your first job, make sure that you leave a statement that you can actually do that. Demonstrate how you can relate with people, clients, how you can relate with other people in the organization, how you can relate with everyone in the organization, and you should be able to nail that particular job. I wish you success. If you have any question, just tag me on a timeline or drop drop a tweet. I should be able to see it and respond. Your CV must be proper. I will be sharing a number of templates online for you to adopt on my timeline, so that you can put your CV in a professional manner, or you can craft it in a professional manner. Remember, without a proper CV, you won't get that job. So you need to have a proper CV in order to get the first interview. The first thing is to get an interview, then you can outshine in the interview and make sure that you get that particular job. And I wish you success, as you listen and as you go forward with your journey looking for a job or a promotion or whatever. I will be coming back again with tips on how to approach tips on how to structure your CV, because your CV is very important. So the next thing I will be talking about is your CV, how to structure your CV, what to put on a CV and what not to put, and how to put it, and how to display your capabilities and capacity, or what you can do and what you can't do on a CV. It's very, 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 very important. Ensure that everything that you do is aligned and you are able to get that kind of audience and that job that you are looking for. And I wish you very well as you continue in your journey looking for a job. The sky is the limit. Go and ace that particular job. The next one that you will be shortlisted. God bless you. Until we meet again. Thank you.